Hi there, hope you're doing well today. I am back after a little break. So what happened? I was doing these videos every week for about 2 months, and COVID-19 happened in that period, and I had a lot to say. And then the riots and tensions happened in the US, and I was taken into a very internal place, and I've been really investigating myself quite closely over the last couple of weeks. Where do I stand in what's happening? Do I personally have racial prejudice? How does this fit with my own area of expertise, archetypes and archetypal transference, and this idea of the inner throne that so many of you have started to take an interest in, especially through the recent videos on conspiracy theories. So it's been a hard couple of weeks for me, to be frank. It's been a period of a lot of internal turmoil, and I think that is the case for many of you as well. It's hard to really find where to stand with all of this, because obviously what happened with George Floyd was absolutely horrific. But then all of the things that have been happening in the terms of rioting and looting and that kind of a thing is also horrific. And the seeming desire to just dismantle the systems that carry our civilization as we know it is also deeply troubling to me. Not to say that our civilization is perfect, but I'd rather have that than anarchy and barbarians running around the streets clubbing each other with hammers and sledges. And yeah, it's not really my utopian dream. So I've been stuck and frozen a little bit in that, so I've just been focusing on the internal work and reclaiming the throne. But as you see now, I'm back and have some reflections on Donald Trump, because all of the shit that's been playing out now on some level, in some way, shape or form, was triggered, or at the very least taken into the next level of intensity. It's one of the dominoes that had to fall for us to get to the point that we are today. And it occurs to me that when we have a deepening insight and knowledge of the collective unconscious, the archetypes, we start to develop a little bit of a prophetic looking into the crystal ball ability. Carl Jung had that. He expected that there would be a Second World War as he was investigating the psyche of the Germans. And I think all of us that have any interest in going really deep into this material will start being able to piece together the trends and patterns and currents that are flowing through culture and the collective psyche. So I've noticed myself making a lot of predictions over the years, and I remember very vividly about 15 or 16 years ago predicting what's happening right now. And in January of 2017, I was sat at a cafe in Bali with a friend, and Trump had just been elected, and I had this very clear, almost prophetic premonition. So Trump as president, the end times or a new hope, is a little blog post that I made in January of 2017. It's Inauguration Day in the United States. Donald the Trickster Trump is about to ascend the throne of the United States, and many people are afraid. I was experiencing a lot of stress around this possibility at the beginning of 2016. Several nights I didn't find sleep because of my worry, but then the worry disappeared. At first I took its disappearance as trust that Trump wouldn't be president. But as time went by, I started suspecting that my initial hunch was wrong. And when the DNC swindled and manipulated the presidential candidacy out of the deserving hands of Bernie Sanders, who is the legitimate president of the United States as far as I'm concerned, that hunch was strengthened. I still wasn't prepared for my gut response to the election of Trump as president, however. Trump as president, and the era of empowerment. I was having lunch with my friend Sarah in a cafe in Ubud, Bali, when I received the message that Trump had won. In a flash, my body filled with an intense feeling of power and permission. And in a scene reminiscent of Braveheart, my inner world showed me a man on horseback in front of a fierce band of warriors. "This is the moment we've been waiting for," he exclaimed. "The fight we have been preparing for is finally upon us." And the warriors beat their shields with their sword arms, and the sounds of "ho, ho, ho" thundered across the moors. The nature of my somatic response and the profound and vivid quality of the images of these earth warriors moved me into a place of trust. And I came to believe in that moment that Trump was the right choice. Not because he'll be a great president. On the contrary, Trump is like the trickster figure in the fairy tales, or Lucifer in the Christian myths, who has been sent to expose the hypocrisy of the prevailing worldview, be it that of man or that of God. I predict that his very presence will be so disruptive that the already shaky structures of our old world will start collapsing. We're likely entering a period where our shadows, both individually and collectively, will be exposed, and where more and more Americans will realize that their country has become a dark and oppressive force in the world. We may start to realize that democracy has developed into a total farce, in which many of us are actively passing on the mantle of responsibility to mommy or daddy, praying that they will fix the problems of the world, while we keep our hands clean. We may realize how polarizing we have become, and that the radical left and the conservative right are entangled in a deeply twisted and abusive love affair. And if all goes well, as I believe it will, from the smoldering embers of our incinerated pride and arrogance, we're likely to see a wave of grassroots activity emerge as the people wake up to their power and start reclaiming and evolving the democratic legacy as true citizens of humanity. I believe we will see all of this and more. Reclaiming the soul of humanity. I'm not entirely free of worry. There's going to be a lot of suffering in the coming years. But I believe with a great deal of conviction that the suffering will be in service of something new. I pray that this will not be the time for you to collapse, to point fingers, and become twisted up by fear. I pray to my liberal friends especially, this is on your hands as much as the hands of conservatives, and so I want you to own what is yours to own. To the best of our ability, let us make the next 4 years a time to face our shadows, to come together in friendship across political and geographical borders, to heal our wounds, and to live out our gifts in the world. This is the time we have been waiting for, my friends. This is the battle we have been preparing for. It's the battle for the soul of humanity, and if you and I take it on, then the great war that is looming may not need happen. So happy Inauguration Day. Instead of being the start of a dark age for humanity, may we ensure that this day heralds the coming reclamation of our power from systems of governance which have failed us. So I wrote that in January 2017, and as I read that right now, actually my hairs are standing on end because, as far as I can tell, it's all come true. And what we need now is to listen to this calling to not be pointing our fingers all the time, blaming others. Rather, this is the time for personal sovereignty. The way that we are triggered by other people for the ways in which they are showing up in expression of qualities of being that we have not integrated in ourselves. The ways in which we do that are the ways in which we don't become personally sovereign. And so then instead we become slaves to our fears and emotion and anxieties and projections. And that's exactly what we see in the United States right now. I think there's some reason to see what is happening in the world as a mirror of Trump's internal world. Because you will see in the archetypal teachings that the interior world of a king will be reflected in the exterior world of the kingdom. So, for better or worse, Trump, being a chaotic trickster, has been, for the last several years, revealing the shadows of us all, on the left and on the right, of men and of women, and there's just no way around it. We have to face our shit. We have to face our shit. And when we do that right now, what is actually a really scary time for me and probably for you is likely to become our transition into a whole new paradigm for human culture. And that is my prayer, and that is my invitation for you to be part of telling that story. To not tell the story of dystopian futures, of robot police and rogue artificial intelligences and drones that just assassinate people that are an enemy of the state and so on and so forth. Let's invest in a different future, because as I've been saying for many years now, the future will not be created by politicians or by scientists or any of these people. It will be created by the storytellers. Because it's when we have a story of a better world that we have a chance to live it, enact it, and make it become real. So Donald Trump, end times or a new hope? Well, things are still hanging in the balance. I'm pretty sure, by judging from what's happening in the United States, at least right now, that Donald Trump will win the next election. When it happens, I don't know if it's even going to happen in a normal way, but when it happens, and he's probably going to do it in a very, very landslide kind of way. All of the radicalized lefties are going to be even more angry, more rioting, and so on and so forth. So let's prepare ourselves. It's going to be a heck of a journey. Stay strong, stay grounded, and I intend to be back with you next week, and let's continue this conversation then. Have a brilliant day. Give your gifts, and yeah, I just believe that each and every one of us has such amazing capacity for good, and if anything should inspire you to keep watching these videos, I hope that is it. All right, man. See you next time. Ciao. Thank you so much for being interested in this radical and quite unusual content. I've spent more than a decade researching this territory, and many of my perspectives may be quite new to you, but I know that you're seeing and watching this right now because you're someone pursuing truth, and a less than mainstream kind of truth, but a truth that feels truly good to you deep in your bones, something that you can trust. I'm not going to help you find truth in all parts of life, but I'm certainly going to help you with what I know about. And if that's something that you want more of, please share this video with someone you care about, and also subscribe to this channel. That's a great support to me and to the work we do with Reclaim Your Throne. And if you want to have notifications every time there's a new video, please also remember to press the little bell. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. Have an ass-kicking day, and I look forward to seeing you next time.